Guys, what's going on? It's Joe from GadgetryTech.com, and today I'm going to talk about the Recon 200 Gen 2 headset from Turtle Beach. This is a new headset. It's 60 bucks. I'm really excited to talk about this one. In fact, I actually delayed my review by over a week because I just didn't get enough game time with it initially, and I didn't want to rush the review. So, sorry it took a little longer than expected. That wasn't my plan, but I really like to use my stuff before I talk about it as much as I possibly can, obviously. So, with that being said, we're going to start with the basics. I'm going to basically talk about features and specs. We'll talk about build quality and comfort, sound quality, mic test, final thoughts. So, basic features: 40 millimeter drivers, rated for the whole typical 20 to 20,000 hertz. You have a rechargeable battery, which might pose some question marks for people new to this price range in this model. But the Recon 200 Gen 1 had the same thing. This has a 12-hour battery, and when you turn the switch on, it amplifies the sound output a lot. It makes the headset much louder, and it has a full-time bass boost. So there's a little tiny DAC inside that actually improves the sound quality a bit to kind of give you that rumble effect. I actually got closer to 14 hours in my testing, so even though it's rated for 12, there seems to be a little bit of overhead there. Naturally, it depends on what mode you're in and how loud you play it, how long, etc. But the battery's good. Non-detachable cord, but it is rubber, so I like that because when you're wearing it, rubber on fabric is much quieter than a braided cable on fabric, so I actually like it when less expensive headsets use a rubber cable. That's how it should be. So, not detachable, but whatever. It's $60 headphone. That's kind of to be expected at this point. Flip to mute mic. I, again, like that because it's very easy. I don't have to find a mute switch. On my HyperX review, if you've watched the cloud review I did in the past, I like that headset. Sound quality is good, but the mic switch on the cable, super annoying when you're gaming, trying to find the switch and mute yourself if someone comes in the room or whatever it may be. So I like the controls. Now you have USB-C now, unlike the Gen 1 version, which had micro USB, of course. This has USB-C, so it charges very quickly. You have that little rocker switch, which goes up for PlayStation and down for Xbox. They sound the same. PlayStation switch mode is louder. That's just because PlayStation requires that the bass audio output is, when I say bass, the standard audio output is 6 decibels higher than on the Xbox side. So the PlayStation switch makes this headphone louder. Xbox One is still extremely loud. PlayStation just takes it to another level. Once the switch is on and that little DAC is enabled for the bass boost, you also get microphone side tone on a $60 essentially analog headset. That is super slick. That alone might be enough for some people to buy a $60 headphone like this because they like the side tone feature. And let's face it, the side tone built into the game or console like Xbox is pretty poor. It's never loud enough, and even their Xbox headsets have the same problem. So I like that you can hear yourself on this if you want to. The flip to mute is great. I can hear myself crystal clear right now. There's no clipping when I'm doing the side tone. And if I don't want to hear myself, no big deal. Just turn the volume down, and now it's silent again. You have a master volume, and because this is more of an analog headset, you have a hard stop at max and a hard stop down at the minimum here. There's no beep or anything like that. So it's extremely easy to use. The only thing I can fault as far as the features and specs go is because it's a switch, it's a physical switch, it's not digital. It doesn't turn off by itself. So if you forget and leave this on, the battery will die and you'll lose that extra power for the next day. Now, the cool thing is with the Gen 2 is if the battery is completely dead, you can still use this as a standard passive headset. So don't stress about the battery dying. Don't stress about, what if I have it in 3 years from now and it won't take a charge anymore? You can still use the headphone. You just won't get that extra volume and bass boost if the battery's dead or it's off. So as far as build quality goes, it's solid, okay? It's got this really nice, durable, hard plastic. They didn't do anything glossy or funky with the finish. So I think it's going to hold up well. It really doesn't show any fingerprints, and even the headband has this nice little texture to it. So, and it'd be helpful if I actually put it the right way so you can see it. Look at that. Beautiful. So it's a simple looking headset, but again, $60, you're going to have a lot of plastic. There is a metal reinforced headband, so as far as durability goes, if you're concerned with it holding up long term, it seems durable enough. I like that they lightened up the clamp force a bit. It's not so light where it's going to fall off my head, but it's much more comfortable than the Gen 1. And another huge selling point, obviously I have the whole swivel so you can rest on your shoulders, if you're not actually needing it. It uses an athletic fabric on the ear cup. This is so much more comfortable than leatherette, and if you've owned leatherette headbands or headsets before, you'll know that that over time deteriorates after a while. Makes a good seal and has good bass, but they don't last a long time. This should last you a very long time, and if for any reason you want to switch it, you can, because these are not glued in. They're swappable pads, which is super cool. And they're actually quite deep. They're memory foam, and they still have the Pro Spec. So if you wear glasses, basically Pro Spec means that this part of the memory foam is a little bit softer than this part. That makes it so when you put glasses on, there's less pressure being pressed into the side of your head. And with the light clamp force means you can still game for a long period of time. I typically game for about 3 hours at a time when I was testing these, and I didn't find any long-term comfort issues at all. So they really nailed it as far as ergonomics go with controls. Build quality seems good. Again, I've only had it for a couple weeks, so I have no idea how it'll hold up in 2 years from now. But overall, it's really nice, and I really like the fabric choice on the ear cup. It just breathes more. So that covers the specs. I liked the comfort, and as far as the sound quality goes, I think this is where people are going to have the most questions. So I'm going to get right to it. This, with the switch enabled, is a V-shaped headset, and what I mean by that, I should do it this way, right? There's a good amount of rumble to it. When this switch is turned on, that 30 hertz rumble, the shaking effect, if you will, is a lot more present than I expected. Not only because this is a 40 millimeter driver, I didn't expect the bass to be that good, but it's just for this price, it shouldn't have that much clear bass. Usually these types of speakers, as soon as they put out that kind of bass, they start distorting and it totally kills your highs. You get noticeable distortion, or you can actually hear like a wind or baffle noise because it wasn't engineered correctly. So I want to give huge kudos to them because they really got the bass response down, especially when that switch is turned on. When the switch is turned off, if you don't like a lot of bass, or it's just your battery's dead and you don't have a choice, the bass is more recessed. So if flat is here, with the switch off, your bass is down here, and with the switch on, it's right here. It's not too recessed off, and it's not too overpowering when on, where it's destroying the rest of your sound quality. I did a lot of audio listening on music because I try to run these headphones through a gauntlet of tests, listen to the same videos, like game videos that I recorded, music tracks, Atmos tests, etc. These are a little bit on the brighter side. They're definitely not as flat as the Recon 500s. Those things are like nice, smooth, full sounding headphones. These are a little bit sharper, which is fine for gaming. For pure music, it may not be your best choice at the $60 price point, but they still sound great in music. It just depends on the track. If you're listening to a heavy metal song or something that's a very bright, harsh sounding song, because that's how it was recorded, that with the sharpness and detail that this has might be a little too much for those tracks. However, if you're listening to something like jazz or R&B, they're going to sound ridiculous in EDM music. So it has a lot of strengths in certain areas. I just want to, again, paint a perfect picture for sound quality. I find the highs to be a bit on the brighter, sharper side, but it doesn't get too sibilant or harsh sounding. So those S's and the highs aren't like causing tinnitus in your ears. It's pulled back a little bit from there. So from a gaming perspective, that's great because that means you're going to be competitive. It's going to help you hear footsteps better. Loot crates off in the distance if you're playing battle royale games. But then if you're playing games like racing games or something that has a more engaging cinematic experience of a game, this is going to sound phenomenal because that bass boost with the rumble means that when lightning or thunder is happening around you, you're really pulled into the game. So I think the tuning on this for $60 is close to where it should be at this price point because of how these are typically used. And I was not let down by that. Now, if you want to take things a little bit further, I got to show you this. This is the Recon controller, and I do have a Control Freak stick on there, so let's pop that off. So this is how it normally looks. This is the Recon controller, also $60, so $120 combo. This has audio presets built in, so I can do superhuman hearing, my own EQ presets that are pre-built, not my own, but I can cycle through them. And it's interesting to see how much superhuman hearing, along with this, with the switch turned on for bass boost, how competitive you can be. It's kind of shocking and ridiculous what you could get nowadays, even at $120, controller and headset. This is a sweet pairing, and I'm glad that the color scheme actually matches quite nice. It's a very similar gray. This is a little bit more of a greenish olive color to it. But I'm going to show you something. So just to put money where my mouth is, I did a live stream yesterday talking about headphones while I was playing Warzone, and this was one of the pairings I did for about 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to show you a game clip. I went into Gulag and I had accidentally turned off superhuman hearing earlier because I went to hit the map and I hit the wrong button. But in Gulag, in Warzone, I look down, turn on superhuman hearing, look up, I immediately hear the footsteps and I could pinpoint right where it was coming from. Easy kill, got out of Gulag. That's, I mean, granted, you know, top shot ace, right? It's so critical when you're playing any kind of game like that to know where things are coming from as accurately as possible. And the fact that you can get that level of competitiveness and awareness on such an affordable setup, even with this alone and not in superhuman hearing, the detail's excellent. So I'm going to show you that game clip now just so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm in. Oh, get it in the face, dude. That's the superhuman hearing. I looked down for a second just to turn on superhuman hearing. As soon as I did, I frickin' heard him coming. I knew exactly where he was gonna be. All right, so there's the proof. It's a pretty sweet little setup. And now I'm talking to you on the Recon 200 Gen 2 microphone. Curious to see what you guys think of the sound quality. Again, flip to mute. And now I'm back on. So the flip to mute works well. I like that it's super quick. There's a little bit of a thump, obviously, that comes through. But sound quality to me at the $60 price range, this is pretty normal to slightly better than normal. It doesn't have the walkie-talkie effect. The bass isn't too muddy or unclear, and it's not too sharp and tin can sounding. So I think they did a good job at delivering a decent quality mic at $60. No real faults or complaints there. So at the end of the day, would I suggest this to friends and family? Absolutely, because it's not wireless and it's $60. One, it's affordable, and two, I know it's going to work every single time. The good news is if the battery dies, it will still work. I think the comfort and sound quality overall at $60 is a home run, and Turtle Beach is really just hitting their stride lately with these new models. It seems like every single model, regardless of the price range, they're really finding what's important at that price bracket and excelling and giving you a really high quality headset, because you could say that the game sound is important, but so's comfort, so's the mic, so's the durability, because I'm not here to just rate and say which one sounds the best and that's it. You actually have to use it every day. And all those things tied in, all the features, the way the switches are, how long can you wear this? What if you have glasses? It all adds up to a really well-rounded headset, and it's a super easy recommendation at $60. You know, if I were to nitpick and just keep it straight, this was sent to me for review, by the way, but if you've watched the channel in the past, you know that doesn't influence what I say about the products and what I like or don't like. I'm very unbiased. For pure music, if you do more of like a 50-50 music mix and you listen to all different genres of music, I think for $10 more, the HyperX Clouds are a little bit better musically. But for pure gaming, this is $10 less, and to me, the bass response and the controls are significantly better than the Clouds. The Cloud has a braided cable, which translates into noise into the ear cup when you move, and I cannot stand the inline switch and volume rocker. So again, if you're just using it a lot more for music than you are gaming and occasional gaming, I think the Clouds are a little bit better. Otherwise, to me, the Recon 200 Gen 2 is the best value. You would step up to the 500s, the Recon 500s, which are $80, if you just want a fuller, more natural, flat sound. Those still sound great as far as competitiveness goes on footsteps and clarity. Not as sharp or clear as these, believe it or not. These are a little bit brighter, but the 500s just have a huge power handling. So if you have a headphone amplifier in any way, you can really crank those things and they get loud and stay clear. This can get a little overdriven at max volume, but that's normal. Any headset at max is going to start distorting. This just does it, you know, to what you'd expect at $60. So I still think it's a great headset. I think they crushed it. If you guys think this is the right one for you and this is the price range you're looking for, I'll put links in the description below. That takes you to Amazon. It's an affiliate link. Nothing special. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It doesn't save you anything. I get a small kickback of it, which I'll use to buy headsets and other stuff for the channel. I like to buy a lot of stuff I review, so that's where that money comes from. I hope you found it helpful and you got what you needed out of this review. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because I'm going to keep going with this content here. I got a lot of cool stuff I'm super excited to talk about, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much.